Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Here to review Benight and Beguile Book 7, Chapter 13. He fears that face. I apologize for being behind. I've been very, very busy. Um, so, Lucas Morrill and Cora Taylor are talking. They're at Evie's house on the beach. It's a spot, it's that beach where Sabrina was killed. Now they're not on the beach; they're sitting on the porch, sipping tea and stuff. They're having a conversation about uh, having Gabriel go see his mother. Um, Lucas asks, Cora, hey, have you talked to Rebecca? Maybe say about what you know. Um, Characters always have to weigh decisions, especially when they know there's other shit going on. And the Lords always have a lot going on, and now they have even more going on with this trial. Again, Rebecca's trying to, and not successfully. She was successful. Now she's not successful because Celeste is working against her and keeping the whole Cashman thing under wraps. That's not going well for her now. So going to Rebecca now, if you're Cora, may not is going to be one big roll of the dice. You better hope that lands on 7, girl. Because if it doesn't, and in the mood that woman's probably in, it might not set best for her. Again, it's so hard to tell too. That's the one thing I'll say. When I went back and read this again today, it's not just the characters you're reading about; it's the other characters that are involved within the frames of the story that you aren't in the necessarily seen in the sense that you're reading. Yes, you're reading about Lucas Morrill, Cora Taylor, but what John does so well too, and again, I always give him credit because he's a hell of a writer and he should be published. And I've told him this. You have these characters in Lucas Morrill and Cora Taylor. Cora Taylor has to make not just one important decision, but many. And one of those decisions involves going to Rebecca. Does she or doesn't she? She hasn't made that decision yet. She hasn't really made that decision here. She's thinking about it. But she also knows she's not in the best graces of that family. The family has other things going on. And it ain't exactly good. So she has a dilemma on her hands. A huge dilemma. Very huge. And it's sort of heavy as the crown, right? You have the world on your shoulders, girl. Good luck. But also too, Lucas so far I think has been a really interesting character because he's willing to help those who need it because he's a good a good person. He says, we could sneak in to Lear's office, and find out what he knows about you. And he goes, Lear won't like it, but I think he feels, bad for what's going on. And keep in mind, Lucas is in love with Lear. Lear's in love with Lucas. But I also think, too, Lucas sees the good in Lear. Like this is not a bad person. He just made really bad decisions. And you can say that about a lot of people in life. People just make bad decisions. They make decisions out of pain, that's another great thing. You have a character who has made poor decisions out of a lot of bad because of the situations in his life. John, for the supernatural stuff he writes, just like the S, brings the reality of his characters back to, always keeps them grounded in reality. And that's the best compliment I can give a writer. You also have, make sure I get this right, you also have Jacob Lord seeing Christopher Weasley, David, aka David Lord. Celeste sees him too, and Jacob has a heart attack at the courthouse. There's going to be some heavy stuff over this, and I'll say the most interesting part of this is what happens not just outside the courthouse, but inside the courthouse. You have a situation where the judge isn't quite showing favoritism, and you have this. Hold on, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. My phone rang. The mayor wants, his attorney, who he hired, his friend, to object. He doesn't. Because he senses there's something going on. At least that's my, now I want to say this, that's my interpretation. I think Eden senses, wait, something's not, something's going on here. Again, I could be wrong. When I give my opinion on these, I don't want you to think I'm right, because I could be wrong. Okay, so I always come at it with the side of, hey, I could be wrong. Is it a moral victory for the Lords? A bit, yeah. You have a bit of a moral victory here today. Not a big one, but a moral victory. Because Lear makes great argument points, great defense points. Stuff you can't just poke a hole in. And it's really a hell of a defense he puts on. With a witness on the stand. With Morgan on the stand. Really, really, really good. I think, too, before I get into the next chapter, I will say that the thing here is, it's not just about, is it just about the outcome for the Lords of this trial? Yes, for them. But what else? What else is going to happen to not just to Jacob, but to Celeste, to Rebecca, to Caspian? Is there going to be, and when you get into Cora Taylor, does Baxter Murphy draw a line with her? Remember, Baxter Murphy is out for himself. He is out for himself. He's sort of the one wild card in all this too. Not just Jacqueline. Jacqueline has been a very, very dangerous wild card. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. All right, link to Benight and Beguile is going to be in the description box. I hope you check it out. Very, very interesting read. I gotta go do chapter 14 now. You guys have a nice day.